Not that we could ever be counted on to do that, because
Whatever.
it's just not something we do. Loquaciousness seems to be part of DRS. We never know when to shut the hell up. Which is why we put a timer on the show.
It is.
Otherwise it'd be like 5 hours. Because we don't know how to shut
Probably.
up. Yeah, exactly. Oh no. J.R. Hanley's in the room.
Oh boy, there goes the show.
Rowdy's in the room. Some more people will be coming in the room. So now we have to sit here and act like we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, I wonder what's up with everybody.
I don't know.
It's nice. I mean, I know here it's just hot, so nobody wants to get out of the air conditioning.
Maybe they really just don't want to hear math stuff, and they just said, "Nope, we're done. We're out of here."
Yeah. Well, luckily, nobody here has to do math because y'all made me do math.
Oh wait, hold on a second. No one made you do math. You
Nobody else was
volunteered
gonna do it.
Do math on your own.
Y'all weren't gonna do it, so I did what any overachieving poor Gen X person would do and go, "Yeah, I'll do it. Sure, nobody else. I'll suffer through."
How hard could it possibly be?
Impossibly hard.
I mean, it's not like calculus, which I think
Thankfully.
I can still do. I can still do derivatives. Not
Let's
integrals. I can
slap
still
a
do
few
derivatives.
differential equations on this and see what
No.
happens.
No.
Differential equations at our age are pretty much verboten. I'm pretty sure that our age and vocation prevents differential equations from being solved, much less
Nope.
written.
I was asked at the beginning of the summer when my kid started taking his class. He said, "Oh, you took DVQ. Can you help me with this?" And I looked at him. I said, "Baby, that was one of the classes I had to take twice because I had a terrible professor the first time, and I could not bring myself to study. I got a B the second time, so I might remember some of it, but it's been like 25 years. Please, dear God, no."
I can understand
I
that.
cannot do math no more. You will have to search the YouTubes.
Exactly.
Really, Tim? Really?
Like
Impossibly difficult.
Steel.
You're really got blue steel. Ugh. Just see a doctor about that. Math is illegal. Stop it. What? What? What is going on in this room?
You should put a math problem up
Everything.
there. If JR can solve it, we'll stop talking math.
No, I wouldn't.
Cheating and losing Google, you.
Matt says he did double math in college, pure and applied, then stats in university. Now I guess how much I use. Yeah, nice.
I believe the entire set that will be the solution to that problem is 0.
0, probably. Well, let's get this show started. Howdy, folks, and welcome to another episode of the Dead Robot Society. I am Paul E. Cooley. Join me today, Veronica Jaguar and Terry Mixon. How the hell are you fine folks?
Present.
I am having Julius tell me all about it.
Are you huffing? Never mind. Anyway, so what's been going on with you, V?
Oh, let's see. Back to school, so my schedule changes again. But it means I started recording on my public domain project. So that was fun. Finding a voice you can do in first person that will not be grating to the ears and fit a character. Fun. So I did that. I coach bowling, so I've been running paperwork for the past week and moving kids into apartments and writing because I have a deadline.
Lots of writing.
So
Nice.
lots of writing, lots of getting to use the bits and pieces of my engineering background to write about ships and sonar and pings and comms. That's fun. But yeah, that's been it. What about you, Terry? Aside from soothing Julius.
That's my full-time job. I soothe the industry.
Just for you, V, moving kids into apartments.
No, I got one more at home.
You know, you can solve that problem pretty quick. Put one of those little teeny homes out back, done.
For $20,000, you too. You can get running water in it.
So I'm not that famous of an author yet, Terry. So someday.
As far as me, not a whole lot. Just writing, doing stuff. I've had a very placid week. What can I say?
Must be nice.
It happened. What can I say? It happened.
Well, that was just anticlimactic. I was expecting to hear some litany of house disasters or cat disasters or book disasters or some kind of disaster.
They tried to destroy my coffee machine last night, but they failed.
What did the coffee machine
playing in
do to
bed
them?
in the middle of the night, and I hear a crash from upstairs. And Donna said, "What was that?" It said, "It's tomorrow's problem. That's what it is."
I like that attitude. That's a good attitude to have at 4 in the morning or whatever.
Cat parent, any noise you hear in the middle of the night is tomorrow's problem.
I'll have to remember that. I will have to remember that motto. Well, let's see. What have I been up to? Lots of stuff. Not doing writing. Hasn't been doing audiobooks. It's all personal crap. But do want to say that yesterday my uncle, who's been fighting Lewy body dementia for 5 years, finally passed, and it's a good thing. It's just been it's been a crazy week. So that's why I haven't gotten anything done. But I got to get back on the horse because I too have a deadline, and I'm heading to Costa Rica in September. So yeah,
What are you doing in Costa Rica?
We are going on a tour of the countryside.
Oh,
We
nice.
will
We're going
never
to
see
see
them again. They're going to go to Costa Rica, and then we will never see them again.
No, this is a tour my uncle and aunt did a couple years ago, and when we decided not to go to Europe, we're going to do this instead. So it's like a 9-day trip through Costa Rica, and it's all like it's a tour group thing. We're not going to be off the beaten path or anything like that. It'll be fun. We'll see lots of stuff. It'll be good. Lots of walking. So I'm looking forward to that.
And you'll be there at a decent time of year and not the, oh my gosh, I'm going to melt into a puddle.
No, we're going the about 3 weeks before monsoon season, so it may get a little wet. We'll
What
see.
could possibly go wrong?
Go wrong? That's the story of my life.
Well, they don't really get hurricanes. You should be fine.
No, it should be fine from that. It's just depends on how much water is coming down on us. So bad news. But we'll see. I'm looking forward to it. It'll be different. Hopefully I'll get some writing done during that trip, although I've been told if I write too much I'll get killed. So I have to behave myself and take a vacation or something. So that's the plan.
What? Not allowed.
Truly, but you can also say that you're gathering information for your next book.
I would love to write something that takes place in a tropical jungle. I would love to write that. So this will be fun. Yes, do the Dr. Evil thing. Now we got all that horse shit out of the way. It's time to get to the meat of the matter.
We got our regular stuff out of the way, and we're getting to the horse shit.
Okay, we are getting to the horse shit. That's one way of putting it. So I have to go. I didn't check on this. I should have checked on it, damn it. Where'd you put it? In videos? So in our Discord, some joker posted a video, a YouTube video made by Daniel Green. Told us we should watch it, and we did. And unfortunately, I can't find the freaking channel.
I got some videos, and
There it
we
is.
can thank Xander for posting that.
There we go. Thank you, Xander. And the title of the video is Audible is Broken. And it was a 37-minute video, 34-minute video.
Yep.
Really laid out everything about what's going on with Audible and the Audible Plus program. And it's kind of terrifying. I included the link to the video in our show notes. So if you want to go look at, get it from the horse's mouth instead of however we explain it, you're definitely invited to go there. You're also invited to go join the change.org petition, which we'll talk about in a little while later. But do check out those links. These are important things. And even if you don't do audiobooks, if you're an Audible subscriber, you need to know what's happening because your decisions are affecting our income. So we'll get to that in a minute. So first off, I guess we should explain, what is Audible Plus? Audible Plus is basically Netflix for audiobooks.
Yes. There are two versions of it, though.
Yes.
So if anybody's ever had like an Audible subscription where you pay about $15 a month and you get 1 credit per month to spend on an audiobook. It doesn't matter the length of the audiobook. You could spend it on a 3-hour audiobook. You could spend it on a 30-hour audiobook. But you get 1 credit a month to spend on an audiobook. And there are often deals where you can buy additional credits in bundles. So you're never necessarily paying the list price of an audiobook. You're essentially paying a certificate that usually comes out to about $15. Okay. Now, Audible Plus is a subscription bit, but it limits you to a set library. And you can listen to as much or as little of the titles in that library for a monthly subscription of about $8 a month. They have their premium, which combines the two. So you get a credit per month, $15. I think maybe a little bit more. But then you have access to that listening library. And that means that you can, of course, use your credit to purchase a book. But then you have all of these other titles within the listening library that you can just go and listen to as a benefit of your premium subscription.
Tim says, I don't listen to many audiobooks just because I prefer to read, but this sounds a lot like KU. And no, yes and no.
Yeah, sort of, in that if you have the subscription, you can go and pick up a title and listen to it at any time as long as it's within that bucket, that lending bucket. And there are going to be titles that are not in that lending bucket that you can then say, hey, this isn't in the Audible Plus bucket of availability. I want to buy that title from that author so I can listen to it.
With my credit.
I want to use my credit that I have paid for to buy that author's work. Thank you very much.
And then... And then, so when she talks about small pool, not every author is going to be allowed in that pool. You have to be invited to that pool. You can petition to be in that pool. And after a certain time, they can either choose to accept you or not. I don't know if there's some kind of ceremony where you get knighted with Bezos's, wig that he wears on the weekends. I don't know how it happens. I don't know exactly what goes on. We don't have any information about that. What goes on once you get into the Plus program. All this sounds good and fine, because basically, yeah, it works like KU in the sense that we've got a pool, and the books that are in that pool are eligible for payouts from that pool. But there's a couple of things we need to talk about Audible Plus before we even get to the payment thing. I want to bring up the fact that Audible has a lot of its originals, and as V brought up, the public domain works like Frankenstein, right, where they paid a narrator to do it, and now they own the rights to it, and it's in the program.
Right.
Are they getting royalties off that?
Right. And so there are two things. You have Audible Studios, which is a recording. It's a audiobook production company, Audible Studios, and they could get the rights to a book to put it in audio. They can hire a narrator, and they can do all their production in-house. So the narrator gets paid, but they have this piece that essentially they have the audio rights to, and they can put that up for sale on Audible. That's when you see that little the little yellow ribbon.
Yeah,
That says
Audible
Audible
original
only on
exclusive.
Audible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have public domain books. So it's kind of like the project I'm working on. I found a public domain title, which means if I record it, remember, recording, performance, and written, 2 different sets of rights. If I perform it, I own the performance. And I take in all costs. But then when I try to sell that, all the royalties go to me. I don't have to pay an author. Author's dead. Author is dead and the work is in the public domain. So if Audible goes and gets classics like Frankenstein, The Great Gatsby, any of Edgar Allan Poe's stuff, Faulkner stuff, all of these classics, they don't have to pay an author for rights. They just need to be able to pay the narrator for the performance, and then they reap all the benefits. But those titles, those public domain titles, are in that premium bucket, that Audible Plus bucket. So they've got their own stuff in that bucket, along with other authors' stuff in that bucket.
Invited authors.
Invited
Let's
authors.
be clear. Invited authors.
Right. So they're selecting who's going in there. And so it's not a tiny bucket. There's a shit ton of titles that you can get and listen to as much as you want, whenever you want, if you are a Audible Plus or an Audible Premium Plus subscriber.
James says, I would like to say the Plus catalog has had me spend a lot on series I never would have listened to. Okay.
Yes.
Audible is courting authors, saying basically the reasons why you should be in there is it's a smaller ecosystem, which is true. You have fewer books you're competing with to get FaceTime, to get on the front page, to get people to look at you. And people will try your book because they don't have to buy it before they try it and then return it. They basically just flip the stream over, just like a Netflix. Oh, I didn't like that flick. All right, we'll just slot another one and move on. It's the same kind of deal. And that's fine. It's lovely. But as usual, what a great deal for the consumers is not really a good deal for the producers or the manufacturers. It's just always been the way it is. So while it looks like a great deal, and it is for some folks, but here's where things get interesting. We talked about Audible Plus, and that's just a streaming plan. What happens when you combine Audible Plus with Audible Plus Premium, where they give you a credit per month in addition to your Audible Plus streaming? So you have basically you can spend that credit on anything that is in the premium catalog, which is basically everything.
No, you can.
That's pretty much out there.
If you have that credit, you can spend it on anything on the Audible site.
So
anything.
So what happens with the royalties? You think that, okay, fine. KU's got a pool. Audible Plus has a pool. Never the twain shall meet, right?
Right. Oh. So if you've watched the video, if you've gone and watched Daniel Green's videos, he and Robin Sullivan, Robin is goddess level on this. So she definitely knows what she's talking about. She's handling dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, of things in the system, and she's talks with folks at Audible. But the structure and math is a little weird. So this is where not that they made me do math, but where I drew upon my teaching background, my math background, and we're going to have a presentation.
Oh, no. Wait, is this a PowerPoint presentation?
It almost is. But Terry, I thought of you because I know that sometimes attention can be hard. It's like, this is bad. I can't pay attention to it.
Sassy, I can't afford this. I can't listen to this. Sassy, pay attention for me.
Okay. So Sassy, you have to pay attention because they're cats. Okay. So. All right. So we have cats. So we think something's off about this program, because they're not being transparent about how authors are going to earn royalties on the sales of their books.
An Amazon subsidiary is not being transparent. That's unbelievable.
Tell you what. So now you would think this is like the old system before there was Plus, before there was Premium. Now, keep in mind, the numbers here are a little. I'm not going to the $15. I'm saying $20 because the math is easier with the 50% and all that. So, if a member pays for a $20 book using a purchased credit, we're going to say the credit's $20. Author has a 50% royalty rate with Audible. That means Audible gets 50%, the author gets 50%. So, if they're going to pay $20, the author gets $10. Pretty easy, right? This is really important to know if you are figuring out your return on investment, to figure out how many copies you need to sell to earn back what you've paid for your audiobook. So this math is easy, relatively. However, there's a surprise when we start looking at the program and the premium catalog. Here's the problem. If a premium member purchases a credit and uses it to both buy the audiobook and listen to free titles, the amount of that credit gets divided between everybody. I'm going to let you take a bit to sink in.
Let's
say
that
I am only like halfway through my coffee.
Stealing from the person that is actually being paid. That's what that means.
Exactly. So you think that you're handing that $20 bill over, and they're like, oh yeah, you're buying this title. And because you're buying this title, 50% of that money is going to go to the author who wrote that title. And these other authors who are in the Premium Plus catalog, they call it all you can listen. They're not going to get a cut of that because, keep in mind, you are paying for that specific audiobook with your specific credit. Okay? If you do that, it's no longer the same 50% royalty. What? I don't do it as well as Terry does. So. Imagine the cat saying it. That what? Here's what happens. The member pays. Say they pay for they pay for the book. They put $20 in, and then they're going to listen to 4 other titles in the premium catalog in that month. So they say, "Hey, credit. I'm going to buy this specific book. This is who I'm giving my money to." And then they're going to list 4 other titles in that premium catalog. The author, the author that you thought was going to get 50% of those royalties, no. All 5 authors now split that 50% that Audible doesn't get. So the author that you thought you were buying the book, they're getting $2. And it gets worse. What if one of those all-you-can-listen titles has a larger a la carte price? Because think about it, being a logical person, I'm going to spend my credit on a book that maybe is not in the premium bucket, but there's a book in the premium bucket that would cost, that their list price is more. Why am I going to spend a credit on a book that costs more if it's just sitting there? I can get something I want for my credit, be done with it. Well, the person whose audiobook was purchased, they get less. Their percentage drops. So in this case, the author whose title was deliberately purchased is now 15 cents poorer. And I know 15 cents may not be a thing, but in this economy, I
scale it up.
Dimes and pennies, and it is still stealing. So pretty much I can bet that all of us who watched the video from beginning to end wound up looking like this is our screens. Paul's doing it really well. cat
Pretty
lacks the
much.
beard, but Paul is like compensating here, just the glare. Because we think that when we are purchasing something from an author or a title by an author, well, the royalties should go to that author. Am I crazy?
Nah.
If Audible chooses to give away product, that's on them to pay for that. We should not subsidize Audible, particularly since Audible is producing a bunch of stuff and putting into this catalog and double dipping too.
There's some interesting comments going on here.
There is a lot of antitrust stuff here, and I can assure you that I am confident that my Attorney General will be quite happy to hear about this.
Mm-hmm. So, and there's a lack of transparency, because at any given time, how do you know how many titles are in that bucket?
You don't, and you'll never know, because they'll never tell you.
And even if you're looking at the reports you're getting, that means your price per title is constantly changing. Your list price stays the same, but your royalty keeps changing. And I don't know about you, I like my numbers to be relatively consistent when it comes to budgeting. So how am I looking at a consistent earning? How do I know when I've earned back stuff on my audiobooks? So it's something is rotten in the state of Denmark.
There needs to be a class action lawsuit.
So right now, before we get any further, go look at that link, change.org petition. I think I put it in the show notes. If I didn't, I'm an idiot. I put one of them. I definitely put the one to the video in the show notes. But if you go to change.org and look up Audible, it's the first result. Go look at that petition. She explains it too, and sign the damn thing. Which is basically her fix is we keep the pools separate, and therefore there's no harm, no foul. That's the only tweak they have to make. And if they have to figure out how they're going to pay their Audible Plus people, that's their business.
They are not going to go for that, because this entire purpose of this is so that they can have everyone else pay for their free shit.
Well, here's my hope, and this is why I'm saying it's important for both readers and writers, is because I think Robin's right. If a reader knows that or thinks that money is going to the author, that's why they're buying the book. They're supporting the author. If that money's not going to the author who wrote the fucking book, then what was the point? And I think the more the folks get educated, if I say, you know what, you can buy it for $4.99 from Amazon and I'll get my 35% cut because it's not exclusive there, for instance. But if you go to my website, I get $4. I get $4.50. I get whatever it is. In my audiobooks, I get, a 90% royalty instead of a 30% royalty. The point is that we need to educate our readers that this is going on and that this is a problem. And if enough of them contact Amazon, if there's a big enough outcry, maybe they'll change. They probably won't. But I think it's a fool's game to say that we don't need to be shouting about this from the top of every rooftop, because this is huge. This is massive. You say it's only 15-cent loss in that particular picture, V, but that adds up a lot when you start scaling it really fast. And for people who are living and dying on those royalty percentages, this is horrible. Really horrible.
Yeah. So I put all those links in the live channel on Discord.
Thank you.
So the first one is for the big 37-minute long video. The second one is to the change.org petition. And the third one is to the initial video. So Green put out two. The This Is Not Good. And that video, it's a shorter one, but he has some screenshots because he and Robin had an email exchange, and she gave him permission to share that exchange in that video. And so that's where I pulled my numbers from. So I always double check my math, please. I encourage you. But watch it for yourself. Because another thing that he points out is that the royalty split on books and these audiobooks, it's it is bad for creators.
It is.
Because in the grand scheme of things, you're paying the privilege. You're paying 50% of your list price for the privilege of being in a store.
So what I'm doing on my podcast starting next week, because I couldn't record the jibber jab this week, is basically tell them, okay, fine, I'm going to start making all my audiobooks wide. And I'm going to start putting at the back, buy from my store. Mm-hmm. Simple, buy from my store or any other outlet other than Audible. But if you're going to spend an Audible credit, go ahead and spend it. I'll take it. So I pull my shit off, if that's what it comes to. But JR said that maybe this is the thing that's going to finally break the camel's back as far as driving readers and authors to investigate these other platforms. And I hope you're right, JR. I hope you're right. I think this is definitely the beginning of once we educate enough writers and enough narrators too, because of the profit sharing debacle. This also affects profit sharing. It's not just bad for the writers; it's also bad for the narrators who went through ACX and are planning on getting some royalties from this. This hurts them too.
Well, it's not even for royalties. A lot of times, what I'm trying to do as a narrator is I know audiobooks are expensive. I look at my invoices and I go, holy shit, and I know that is a sizable chunk of money to put your work into a new format where if it's your first or second one, you do not know if it's going to sell. And marketing audiobooks is slightly different than marketing, your regular print. It is an investment. And I personally I want to be able to tell authors how to track things so they know when they get that return. How many copies will you need to sell to, break even? When can you start, seeing a really good return? If I can't tell somebody that, I'm like, well, I'd love to do this, but I can't afford it. Well, yeah. If you are stuck in a storefront that is stealing from you and not giving you the amount that people think they're paying, that's a problem. I can't recommend that. And then it comes, going wide, selling on your own storefront, using subscription models through Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee and putting out your work that way. So narrators have to be educated too to advocate for authors. It's the right thing to do.
One of the things I think they may be trying to do, and maybe they haven't explicitly thought this through, is the more money they can take away from the creators, the more people they will thrust into doing AI narrated books.
And that may be the ultimate. That may be the ultimate goal.
Bet that a ton of things that they're doing for their Plus catalog is just running through their AI narrated. They're not doing any work. They're not paying anything. They're just running it through this thing and just putting the audio files up.
Right. And so in that case, you have a bucket. You have a bucket that is full of product that is grossly substandard to what you are creating and investing and putting out. And if someone's listening to that and going, I listened to 70% of it and it sucked, so I stopped. Well, somebody's getting paid. Yep. Someone is still, because they're in that bucket, they're pulling money. I'm sorry. Am I standing on a soapbox? I'm standing on a soapbox.
You're welcome to be on your soapbox. I was just going to say that this is one of those situations where this is hidden behind the terms and conditions that you don't get to see until you're in the Audible Plus program. Is how this works. So even we got to educate authors that are in the Audible Plus program. If they want to stay in the Audible Plus program, that's their business, but they should at least know and understand what it's doing. Because theoretically, Paul Cooley could end up somebody spending money on the black, and then they go through the rest of my catalog in the same month, which happens. They go through another 5 books, and now the black is getting split between those 5 books. So the black royalty goes to absolutely nothing. I mean, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Oh, here we go. Matt says, so if I listened to 20% of an audiobook in the free bucket, would Audible still get paid?
You betcha. You betcha. You listen to 5 seconds, you bet they're going to take their money.
Yeah. Would Audible get paid? Will the creator get paid?
Yeah, the creator getting paid. That's the question.
And how much? Because Audible has had other issues. They've had a very...
Returns?
Yeah, exactly. The returns.
They've got
And
shady
returns,
practices out the wazoo.
Yeah, and the returns, if you had stuff on royalty share, those were coming out of your pocket. I could see how many folks returned books. I know there were at least, I think within like 3 months, somebody went and listened, bought, listened, and then returned all of the Empire of Bones books up to what Terry had published. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, book 1, sure. Book 2, okay. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What the hell? If you don't like it, don't listen to it. But stop taking money out of my pocket, please.
Those people don't care.
Did they ever fix the return issue with Audible? They fixed the massive influx of bullshit, but I don't know that you can call it completely solved. But it's no longer return apocalypse, which is what it was. It was bad. It was really bad. And people gain if you leave consumers a way to game the system, they will. Because they don't understand what's really going on. They think they're screwing Audible, but they're not screwing Audible. They're screwing us. That's the problem. That's why the education needs to be there.
You think they're screwing you? They're screwing you. Yeah.
And the thing is, there are other services out there where you have that same kind of credit model, where you can purchase, a credit a month and get a book, and it doesn't have to be Audible. Libro FM does it. Kobo has services, but again, people go to the huge, superstore because of convenience and for visibility.
And that's what we got to change. And I would be completely naive if I said that this is going to cause a groundswell. However, I think this is the seeds for something that's going to happen later. Because if they get away with this, they're just going to get away with more of it. They're going to see just how far they can push until they get some real pushback.
They need to be taken to the courts and made to pay. And unfortunately, their own arbitration rules means that we can't do anything about it. But states and the attorney generals in those states and the federal government certainly can.
And there's already been a class action put together from what I read.
That'd be great.
So we'll see what happens there. I mean, they're already getting sued for AI stuff. We got several class action suits by writers going after the AI crap. This may just be the decade of the creators having to get it into the legal jump and try and figure out how the fuck we're going to survive this. Meanwhile, they're shoving AI in every single fucking thing they can and lying to consumers like crazy and are being allowed to do it. It's insane.
You're not drinking the AI coffee?
I'm not a fucking ignorant moron.
No. They're...
AI brand coffee, made better by all kinds of crap that we do.
There are certain things in a variety of industries where machine learning and simplification of processes is a wonderful thing, because then that allows humans to be more creative and be freed from, the rote tasks and the minutia that taps your executive function. So you don't have the energy and space to create. I don't want someone to replicate my voice. I want the Roomba to go clean my damn floor and the litter robot to know exactly when to, take care of the cats so that I can focus on writing. if something wanted to analyze my schedule so it knew a time of day when I'm most productive and say, hey, this is the time you should be writing, that would be great. Figure out what I can do for, put together for groceries and dinner. So I take that off my, mental plate so I can focus on creating. Fan-freaking-tastic. Stay the hell out of my studio. Stay the hell out of my books.
Oh, man. Yeah. I'm not looking for AI to solve all my problems. I'm not looking for it to make all my code. I'm looking for it to use its wonderful way of doing things to look for patterns. I want it solving DNA. I want it solving viruses. I want it solving that bacteria and finding new ways to fight all this stuff. I want it fighting cancer. I want it searching for all those things, all those massive. I want it out there searching for ET. I want them looking through all the patterns of NASA logs, of ESL logs, Chinese logs, whatever logs, looking out there for all the signals that they've gotten and looking for patterns that humans cannot find. Mm-hmm. I would love to see that happen.
Or looking for patterns where there's often a human bias.
Right.
And, being able to go, oh, well, these 8 things have happened. These are the 7 symptoms that you've talked about. And these are the 20 things from your medical history that we've seen. After analyzing all this and looking at other case studies, we think that the probability of this is 20%, this is 15%, this is 5%, and we need to do these tests to rule it out. That's what I'd like.
Yeah, good luck with that. That says we use AI purely for tuning algorithms, not for making actual predictions. My code makes the predictions, but AI tunes its accuracy. And even that was a nightmare to get in place.
But it's not replacing you. It is making your job easier.
Yeah, I saw the OpenAI guy, I think, came out and said that 90% of all coding would be done by AI by this time, but 6 months from now or a year from now. That, you know what that is? This is the sound of the bubble starting to pop, folks. Yeah. Because they need to make everybody invest now, because guess what? They're not making a single fucking dime. Every goddamn quote you run through ChatGPT or whatever is costing Amazon or costing whoever some serious money. And when you start putting it into video, it goes up by an orders of magnitude. LLMs are complex, they're power hungry, and data centers are taking up nuclear reactors now. What the fuck next? Mm-hmm. When this thing blows up, and it will, the bubble will pop. It is going to be devastating. And I am here for it.
Well then, and how much of your data will they have?
They already have it all.
Well, so one thing that I forget if I told you guys, if I have, stop me. My younger son, the engineer, my daughter was complaining about how she has to submit homework online because they use AI to help grade. And he said, you should opt out of that. And I looked and was like, baby, I don't think she can opt out of that. And he goes, well, no, because she's training it. And I went, oh, that's right. If she is writing essays, then unless there is some clause in there that says they can't store it, and she retains ownership because she's a student. That's the thing. People forget. If you work for a university as a professor, staff, whatever, they often own
everything.
What you do. Students don't.
Students not lose their rights at the door.
Exactly. So if she gets to the point, it's like, no, I don't want to. I do not give them permission to do that. I think she has a leg to stand on, and I've got some family members in that area of law that I think would support her on that. So it's interesting when you think about it, but it's kind of heartening to know that younger generation is already thinking about it. So there is like, yeah, I can use it for these things, but I know the limit of what is ethical and a proper use, and what, hell no, not going to happen.
Yeah, it's.
But Audible's still robbing people.
Audible's still robbing people.
Still robbing people.
So is their AI model, but we're not even going to talk about that. I'm sure if you sign your book up to do AI, they're like, oh, by the way, we need your book will be used for training.
I bet.
I bet it's on the T's and C's.
I have had at least 2 authors who I did more than 3 books for. They have now gone to AI voice. And the whole thing about picking and choosing your battles, I can't convince someone. I have to wait and let their balance sheet and returns speak for themselves.
I think some people are only going to learn the hard way.
Can your writing, because there are plenty of cases where a great voice will compensate for mediocre writing. Will a bad voice compensate for great writing? Or will great writing compensate for a bad voice?
No, not really.
I mean,
where was it? Hi, Kyle. Nice to meet you. Or I should say, thank you for coming back. It's good to see you. Electricity and water being chewed up by a parentheses, currently artificial hallucination machine. Okay, it's not like we need those things for ourselves or anything. Exactly.
There's that.
Yeah, massive water shortages before this is over with.
That, and where are you building these places? Where is the land coming from? Who or what is being displaced?
Nuclear reactors. They're firing them up. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. The LLMs are hungry. Hungry.
See, now I'm just seeing like a brand new episode of The Simpsons with Homer running the nuclear reactor. And it's not Mr. Burns, but it's a robot that sounds like him. And Smithers is actually a robot who's just going through. And yeah.
Hey, Simpsons.
Homer's the only human there.
Simpsons, call her. Now.
Better yet, Homer is the smartest person in the building.
Oh.
Ooh.
Ooh. Jerry Hanley says, when I was in college from 2000 to 2004, the issue was the plagiarism detection programs being used. The Honor Court argued that it was presuming guilt. Now we have what we have now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was presuming guilt.
It was.
Yeah, it's very hard. It's very, very, I should not use that sentence or that word ever on this program. It is very difficult to ferret out exactly where the lines are in this mess.
So I guess now knowing this about or knowing as we start to peel back the really
the layers,
so many layers with the pricing model and royalties, what do you do?
That's the $5 billion question. I know that Robin says she's pulling all of her books, all of Michael's books, I guess, from Audible exclusive. She's gone so far as she's just not going to do it. And I think Brandon Sanderson, when he gets news of this, he's already pissed. He's already pissed.
What's his response been?
It hasn't been leveled yet, I don't think.
Yeah, it's if you look at the first video, I believe Green talks about Sanderson's response. So that's why I would. Okay, so all right. JR is asking, who is Robin, Michael? I don't know these guys. Okay, let me find the Michael is Michael J. Sullivan, who is an indie author who has done pretty well for himself.
Prince money.
Yeah, and then Robin is his wife, and she manages all of the business side of things. So it's one of those really, really enviable creative partnerships that my spouse handles all of the business stuff when he has time with his full-time job, but he can't design covers and he can't do social media because he's not on there. But in a lot of cases, you'll have one person creating, and then the partner is doing all of the business side of things. Again, freeing up the executive function so you can just focus on how to torture your characters for 50 pages a day.
Our jobs.
Exactly. Hallucinate wildly onto a screen.
AIs have got us beat there. I love it. You called it a hallucination machine, Kyle. I think you have to look at it very carefully and make a decision about whether or not it's time to just jump ship and what that means. And I think it's going to depend on how aggressive your marketing is and how willing you are to get aggressive and stay on top of it. Audible has something like 80%, 70 or 80% of the audiobook market. Isn't that right? Or is it higher?
I took notes while I was watching. Hang on. Sorry, wrong page. First page. I had 2 pages of notes. Audible currently controls about 65% of audiobook
65.
publishing as of 2022. The Audible platform has 63.4% market share. It generates over 1.19 billion with a B in audiobook sales revenue. Audible itself produces 10,000 audiobooks each year. By comparison, a lot of even your big 5 publishers, you're looking at 500, maybe 1,000. So, scale.
Again,
That's a lot.
so I think what we need to start doing is we need to start blogging again. We need to start having a website. You need to start inviting people in to come check you out. You need to start pushing for independent places to buy your books. And you need to decide if you're going to go, if you get out of Audible exclusivity, okay, fine. There's a just slew of alternatives to put your stuff on. Pick your favorite and say, hey, everybody, go buy it from here. Or better yet, sell it from your site.
Yeah, I think if anything, this illustrates that, you got to add another hat to your author persona.
And that's something I got to do. That's something big time I got to do.
Yeah, it is one of those things that I don't have any titles that I myself have alone written. But once that happens, that's something to consider. Because I don't want to be stuck. It sucks.
Oh, wrong one. Could they use antitrust laws to go after Audible as a monopoly? Absolutely. The DOJ was ready to go and do that, and then suddenly some lawsuits were dropped. So make of that what you will. They were going to break them up, and then something happened. So yeah. Who is they at the moment is another big issue. It's down to people with platforms to advocate these days. I saw that JR said that he buys books from BookFunnel.
Mm-hmm.
That's another indie hotspot. So basically, you choose, if you go through Happy Family Audio or Authors Republic or whomever, I'm not going to mention the Spotify disaster areas. Fuck those people. If you, sorry, I'll get off my soapbox now. If you look at where the popular stuff is alternatively, that's going to be your best bet. But like, for instance, I've got an Ancient Trap up an ebook on like a ton, and the audiobook production would be the same way. With Authors Republic, I have the Derelict Saga. The entire Derelict Saga is split between Authors Republic and the Spotify disaster, since they took over the company that shall not be named, who they bought, bastards. Mm-hmm. And those places, and I get money from those. I may get more money from those other places for the Derelict Saga than I do from Amazon, which is really interesting to me. Yeah. And it may be pricing. It may just be pricing. It may just be the covers. Who the fuck knows? But the thing is, I make some money on it, and that's wonderful. So, how am I going to get more eyes and more ears? I'm going to have to market. I'm going to have to buy ads. I'm going to have to do some deals, which is fine. I have no problem with that. I'm going to have to educate myself on how to do this outside of the Audible/Kindle ecosystem. But this is this bullshit just cannot be allowed to stand. It just can't. It just fucking can't. And I don't know what you do besides you sign the petition and you make a big enough noise, and hopefully the media catches a hold of it and it ends up on the New York Times front page, mm-hmm. or Washington Post or Fox News or wherever the fuck. Bottom line is you want the people to know that this is going on, and then that will educate them, and then Amazon will get a big black eye.
Yeah. If like I canceled my Audible subscription a while ago. I could not deal with a lot of the stuff that was going on. And while I need to stay current on what my peers are doing in performance and just enjoy listening, so I have a library card. But not everything is available like that. So there's Libro FM. And they're not Audible. But if you cancel your subscription, go yell about it. Tag Audible. Let them know. Because in this age, people do pay attention.
The more social media you can nail them with, they're not on any of my platforms that I'm in social media with, so I can't hound them. But I've made my thoughts known very well on Blue Sky and or Mastodon. Thank you. Our servers first.
And if you have an author, ask them, is your book available anywhere else than Audible?
Yes.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
And if someone says, why? Well, I want to make sure you're actually getting the money that you're owed.
And that's really, it's just that simple. Make it equitable and we'll move on.
Mm-hmm.
My shit is my shit. Your shit is your shit. Never the twain shall meet.
Yeah. And if you've chosen to work with an audiobook publisher, ask them where they're putting the books.
Yeah. That would be another good thing. There's going to be a lot of soul searching going on in the industry. I think now that the more that this gets put out there, the more people understand exactly what is happening. I think there's going to be a larger demand that they change things. But I think also along with this is people are going to get educated that there are alternatives to Amazon Audible, just like there are alternatives to Kindle.
Yeah.
You just have to go do it. Mm-hmm. It's very simple. I know that click now bullshit looks all good and it's all convenient and everything else, but now you don't even own your books. You can't even download them. What the fuck are you doing? Why are you still doing this? Mm-hmm. So, like I said, there's going to be a lot of soul searching because it turns out we're hurting ourselves. That's just stupid. Let's not be stupid.
No.
So get educated, go sign the petition.
Yeah. And if at some point you're interested in getting back into selling your work in audio, if you're like, well, I kind of want to do it, I'm not sure, or if you have questions about distribution. So I run the continuing education program for the Professional Audiobook Narrators Association. We're having a completely free to everybody. You don't have to be in the organization or not. The audience is actually indie authors. And I'm going to have a conversation with 3 audiobook narrators who are very well versed in working with indie authors. And we're going to talk distribution. We're going to talk budgeting. We're going to talk visibility. And we are all annoyed, she says in quotation marks, about
I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore.
What he said about, what's going on here, to the point where one is already redoing her guide that she does for wide distribution for authors and audio. So I will put the link in live. I promise you're going to see that link on Facebook. If we're friends on Facebook or you follow my page, the link will be there, but it's free. It is Friday, August 29th at noon Eastern time, but it's going to be recorded. And hopefully by the end of it, I'll be better educated, because that's why I like to host panels, because I get to learn. Yay.
Learning is half the battle. In this case, learning is the entire battle.
It is.
Well, we probably wasted this hour. If you have any questions or comments about this show, you can go to deadrobotssociety.com, punch that contact button and send us an email. You can also join our Discord. Link is in the show notes, where you can join our community of crazy people. And we love them. We call them, I don't know what we call them. What do we call them?
Robots. Dead robots?
I guess. Dead robots? I don't know. And we are live on YouTube every Saturday, except when we're not, at 3 p.m. CST. Like and subscribe if you want to know when we're live. And if you want to support the show, you can find us at patreon.com/DRS podcast and buymeacoffee.com/DRS podcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive live shows like the one that's coming up in about 10 minutes. And at the $10 level, you get your name read. And our $10 patrons are... Damn it. I forgot to look up my filter. I was doing so well, too. It was terrible.
Maybe I need to make you cat slides for those, too.
And our $10 patrons are Juan Valentin, James Terrell, Antoine Batts, Tony L. Joy, Rick Shaw, Lisa Slack, and Tim Niederreiter. Thank you to all of our patrons for making this show possible. Hopefully you like spare parts. Hopefully we scared the hell out of you. Hopefully gave you some good information. Hopefully you understood. I think Veronica did a really great job on the slides. So thank you, V.
I can do cats with images.
And you did the math. That's the important bit. So if you do have questions or anything else, go see the other videos of Robin Sullivan and Daniel Green. And I would recommend actually subscribing to Daniel Green's podcast for fantasy news, because he covers a lot of the writing industry stuff when he does. So it's not just about fantasy. Anyway, with that, we are going to get out of here. Have a fantastic rest of your weekend. Thank you for joining us, and we will talk again next week.
Or in 10 minutes in After Dark.
Or in 10 minutes after dark, where we're going to talk about the difference between hard and difficult.